Shabbat Shalom, everybody. 5959 online. And to you, Rabbi Marantz, our fearless leader, Boker Tov.
Cantor Friedman, it's always great to see you. You are a wonderful partner in leadership. So I would be plenty fearful if you weren't around. So I am fearless because of your soulful presence and your love.
All right, I'll send the $20 after Shabbat because that was lovely.
No, it's all good. It's just the fearless part is it's a lot of pressure to live up to.
Right, especially as a Jew.
I'm pleased to be in your presence and our community's collective presence, and a soulful Shabbat will help me recharge for whatever leadership lies ahead. And I hope for everybody that whatever we have ahead of us, we'll be more prepared for as we celebrate this Shabbat. Nice to see you, Leah Jones. Nice to have you on board, and Cassandra as well. Our esteemed tech captains. Surely we would be nowhere in terms of ZoomTube,
please,
in our virtual village without our tech captains. So blessings to you both. So how shall we begin? How shall we begin our Shabbat festivities?
Well, Rabbi, you know, if we were at Emmanuel, we would sing together loud and proud. And we're going to do that here, just not as together as we'd like. So
we'll be practicing for that eventual return.
Yes.
The underline of eventual.
Yes, this is just actually, let me raise this up a little bit because, you know, this morning I feel like I need to sing a little higher. That's better. Okay, here we go.
Nice to get started with a nigun, melody without words, although in this case, Lo Yisagoy is something that we know the words, we know very well, these powerful words of peace. But it's nice to get started in such a way that just allows us to exist and to make beautiful noise from our bodies, from our lungs, with the air that we breathe. It's just nice. It's simple. It doesn't require a lot of thinking. It's nice when we can settle into a service that may actually, like this one, demand a lot of thinking and deep feeling. You'll see what I mean when we get to the drosh for today. But I think that it's nice to ease in and to just feel the transition from the sleep of the evening and the awakening here in the morning. Nice to just ease into this prayerful experience. It's so nice that it makes sense for us to give a prayer of thanksgiving. In this case, the Modeh Ani. Modeh Ani lefanecha Elecha v'kayam Shechazarta b'nishmati b'chemla Rabba emunatecha Rabba emunatecha.
And Matavu saying thank you for the safety of the places we are sheltering. Rabbi, this particular bracha gets special focus today. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah.
We rise in body and or spirit. We call ourselves into worship. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Baruch hu et Adonai Hamevorach. Hamevorach, Hamevorach, Leolam Vaed. Hamevorach, Hamevorach, Leolam Vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer uvarei choshech, oseh shalom uvarei et hakol. Hameir la'aretz v'la'arim alecha b'rachamim. Uvtuvo mechadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reishit. Ma rabu ma'asecha Adonai. Kulam b'chochma asita. Malah ha'aretz ki nenecha. Titbarach Adonai Eloheinu. Al shevach ma'aseh yadecha. Ve'al me'orei or she'asita yifarucha selah. Or chadash al Tzion ta'ir v'niskeh chulanu mehera le'oro. Baruch atah Adonai yotzer ham orot.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Shem Kavod Mahuto, Le'olam va'ed. Baruch Shem Kavod Mahuto, Le'olam va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושילמתם לבניך ודיברת בעם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדב בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. Won't you help me sing these songs of freedom, all we ever had, redemption songs, these songs of freedom, redemption song.
We rise in either body or spirit for our tefillah, our amidah, standing prayers. Adonai, sefatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotinu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, ve'Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasodim Tovim, Rekonei HaKol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה כל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גיבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, ויקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא הארץ, כבודו, אדיר, אדירנו, אדוני, אדוננו, מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ, ברוך כבוד אדוני, ממקומו, 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 אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון לדור ודור. הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ונצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please take a moment for silent meditation.
Seder Kriyat Torah Shabbat, the order for reading of Torah on Shabbat, begins with our singing of the Shema this morning. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo. And the blessing before the reading of Torah, Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch Adonai Baruch Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Amim Benatan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah. Vaydaber Adonai Moshe Bamidbar Sinai Ba'ohel Moed Behad LaHodesh Hasheni Bashanat Hasheni V'tzeta Me'et Mitzrayim Lemor Te'u et Rosh Kol Adat B'nei Yisrael Pohotam Levet Avotam B'mispar Shemot Kol Zachar Legulgelotam. This is super exciting when you chant this in Haftarah trope. Let's go back. There we go, verse 3. Mivein Esrim Shana Femala. That's still Haftarah. We're going to go with it. Kol Yotzei Tzava B'Yisrael Tifkedu Otam Litzet Otam Ata V'Haron V'Yitchem Yehiyu Ish Ish Lemateh Ish Rosh Leveit Avotam. Love that. Just an exercise in something completely different. So here we go. The first 4 verses of the book of Numbers. On the first day of the second month, in the second year following the exodus from the land of Egypt, the Lord spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai in the tent of meeting, saying, take a census of the whole Israelite community by the clans of its ancestral houses, listing the names, every male, head by head. You and Aaron shall record them by their groups from the age of 20 years up, all those in Israel who are able to bear arms. Associated with you shall be a man from each tribe, each one the head of his ancestral home. The blessing after. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'chayei olam atah b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Kol hakavod, Cantor Friedman. Always nice to have a pleasant surprise during a service like this, a little Haftorah trope for Torah. Certainly never heard it. Was quite inspiring and unique.
That might be the world premiere, Rabbi.
We're happy to have that premiere on our very own ZoomTube page here in virtual space, our virtual village.
Perpetuity.
Caveat, there are some very nice work people making a sufficient amount of noise. You probably haven't heard it because I've been muted most of the time, but now that I'm not going to be muted, look out. It might be a little noisy in the background. Apologize for that in advance. Today, I have a real important privilege and responsibility. Some ways I draw on last night's message of inclusion and authenticity and matterness, that is making sure we do everything possible to count everybody in our community and to make sure each feels like he or she or they matters. This is an opportunity to draw on a sermon of old, namely Yom Kippur, sermon about Hachnasat Orchim and spirit of welcoming. It's an opportunity to draw on a recent recap of that sermon in our Sfirat HaOmer project, when I spoke further about Hachnasar Orchim and the practice of welcoming and inclusion. And last night after services, we were talking about a number of matters, and it came to my attention that this particular Shabbat is devoted to members in our community who identify as Jews of color. It is also true that there have been a flurry of articles out there in the cybersphere about our Jews of color community and the extent to which we are, in fact, as inclusive as we should be. And so all that comes together in what amounts to be much like a Yom Kippur sermon. So sit back, and I hope that we can not only think deeply about the ideas in this sermon, but that we can actually talk about not only the power of inclusion, but the practice of it and how to make sure that we improve in any ways that we have yet to improve in. So it's in that spirit that I remind some of you and tell some of you that last night we began a conversation about the power of the wilderness as a place that invites honesty and humility, a place that breaks down our presuppositions and assumptions about who we are and who we are not, a place that avails us wide opportunity to grow, to improve, to rise up to our better selves. Our key text here also juxtaposes the tent of meeting with the midbar, with the desert, and calls us to a certain level of responsibility. That is, while we are collectively making our way through the wilderness of our becoming, while we are becoming more honest with ourselves, while we are seeking to become our better selves, we must make sure to count all in our tent of meeting, whether real or virtual. All who are engaged in spiritual growth themselves, to make sure that every one of us is properly counted, to make sure every one of us matters, to make sure we've done everything to ensure that everyone who does matter actually feels like they matter in our midst. And so I repeat our big questions from last night. Given this COVID chaos, which often feels like a desert of disconnection and isolation and loneliness and uncertainty in its own right, how can our Parshat HaShavua, how can our study and reflection today bring us a little inspiration as we find our way? What is our call to action, Chevre? And what must we do to stay connected? And what must we do to ensure all are counted and all feel connected? So we also discussed last night this practice of census, of accounting for the matterness of all. We discussed this sacred practice as key to our in-reach efforts, as key in our capacity to care for others. Our community is only as strong as our ability to connect with those who feel disconnected, with those who feel marginalized, with those who don't always feel adequately counted or included. So while I am indeed proud of our progress thus far as we grind through this pandemic, especially with respect to our Chesed team, I know we have yet a long way to go. Just take, for example, this flurry of recent articles I spoke of regarding deep concern over various studies that support the fact that Jews of color and their families have been historically undercounted and underserved by the Jewish community. What are the implications of this? For important guidance on this question, I turn to the wisdom of Yavila McCoy, CEO of Dimensions, Inc., which works with the Jewish community on matters of diversity, equity, and inclusion. I wholly recommend Ms. McCoy's article, Dancing Between the Light and Shadow, Increasing Awareness, the Impact of COVID-19 Disparities on Jews of Color. You can find it on the internet. Here, Ms. McCoy tells a powerful story about her own personal pandemic experience. When the pandemic hit this country and our national shutdown began, I lost my previously healthy mother to undetermined causes in a rural North Carolina hospital. In late March, I flew on an empty plane to arrange a Jewish burial for her within 24 hours. I arrived to an Orthodox Jewish community that was spinning with the impact of navigating rising deaths among them while being prohibited by state-mandated restrictions from observing usual Jewish rituals for burial. I also arrived at a hospital in the Black Southern community where my mother lived and encountered doctors and nurses working without protective gear, without the capacity for testing patients, and without any expectations that resources would be coming their way anytime soon. This ongoing challenge is similar to many others in this pandemic, and in particular, how Jews of color are living through it, Ms. McCoy reports. And these ongoing challenges are intense. People living in packed dwellings with multiple generations, some of whom are sick. People worried about family members facing life and death situations amidst a mass incarceration. People risking health and safety in essential roles without proper government support, and worries that joblessness means homelessness. People navigating a racialized system that devalues a person of color beyond the service one can provide to a white person. Yavila McCoy's narrative and ensuing analysis about Jews of color hits hardest because it's not that these challenges suddenly popped out of the pandemic laden blue. These challenges were just and have been made worse by the COVID chaos. She speaks of increased vulnerability, not only to a lethal virus, but fundamentally inequitable systems that have been killing people in Black and brown bodies for centuries. She speaks that within our country, we are witnessing daily how systems that have not changed in regard to racial injustice, police brutality, criminal justice reform, voting rights and suppression, immigration justice, economic justice, LGBTQIA plus and human rights, environmental conditions, healthcare, government corruption, education, common sense gun laws, the list goes on. All of these issues make people of color in our country more vulnerable, not less. So, while this pandemic, in a sense, accidentally avails us the opportunity to build back better our synagogues, our schools, and our summer camps, Chavre, what will we do in our community to build back better our relationship with those who identify as Jews of color? Ms. McCoy and other Jews of color wonder, how will the narratives that Jewish leaders are proximate and not proximate to impact their ability to address how Jews of color, as a historically vulnerable population among Jews, will make it through this pandemic without being made more vulnerable within Jewish systems and within the country's navigation of COVID responsiveness? Answering this question must be a critical responsibility going forward if we are to get truly proximate in our work of building back better. You may remember that we began this conversation back on Yom Kippur. And as I mentioned, I followed up upon it as part of our Sfirat HaOmer project. In both contexts, I focus on the power of Hachnasat Orchim, the spirit and practice of welcoming and inclusion. As a Reform movement, we recognize a very important truth, so beautifully captured here. Jewish diversity in all its hues is no longer a wave. It is the ocean of Jewish life. At Emmanuel Congregation, we keep the doors of Hachnasat Orchim open always. Whether at 5959 North Sheridan or here in cyberspace. Our village, our tent of meeting, whether in physical or in virtual form, welcomes you no matter how you identify as a Jew, no matter what your engagement in Jewish life. Our spirit of welcome flows from a belief in audacious hospitality, a transformative spiritual practice rooted in the belief that we will be stronger and more vibrant as a Jewish community when we fully welcome and incorporate the diversity that is this precious reality of modern Jewish life and the pursuit of authentic Jewish identity. Emmanuel Congregation is a diverse congregation. We are proud to say that our diversity reflects the diversity of Chicago. But we've also learned that diversity is not the same as inclusion. In the words of activist Vernay Myers, diversity is being invited to the party. Inclusion is being asked to dance. Chevre, if we want to tout diversity, we must actively choreograph the inclusive embrace of our diverse community and our diverse perspectives. We must walk toward discomfort, as Ms. Myers coaches, toward authentic relationships, deeper, closer connections, close enough to see the whole person. It's not about perfection, Ms. Myers says. It's about connection. It's about seeking people who can see our humanity. It's about fashioning compassionate understanding that flows forth from friendship with people who are different from us. This, Chevre, is Hachnasat Orchim. This is how we practice inclusion. Consider this piece of Kabbalah. You and I and everyone come from the Adam Kadmon, the primordial person, God's original intention for humanity, celestial, androgynous, and the size of the entire universe. But then we learned that Adam Kadmon sinned, and God reduced the primordial person to what we learn in the folklore as a flesh and blood, bifurcated moral creature, the same creature we are now. What this means is that every human soul is but a fragment of the collective soul that is Adam Kadmon, which means that every human soul comes from the goof, comes from the body of the very first person. And what this means spiritually is that we all come from the same soulful origin, no matter how different we seem to manifest. And when we become aware of this, I borrow from Vernay Myers' Midrash, something really powerful happens. Something really beautiful happens. We start to realize that those we see as different, they are us. That they are a part of us. That they are us in our own families. And when this understanding occurs, we cease to be bystanders and we become actors. and we become advocates, and we become allies. What a beautiful vision for Hachnasat Orchim. What a beautiful vision for the spirit of welcome. What a beautiful vision for building back better a truly inclusive community. So what then, Chevre, is the call to action? Ultimately, our journey through this pandemic, this new wilderness, must teach us about the power of Hachnasat Orchim. Our tent of meeting, whether physical or virtual, must be welcoming, and it must be inclusive. Hachnasat Orchim must flow from the disciplined practice of counting every single person as made in God's image, B'Tselem Elohim, full of intrinsic worth, and someone who truly matters always. If our journey in the Midbar is about authentic and genuine living, so is this pandemic. Today, just like in ages ago in the desert, Hachnasat Orchim is about growing and becoming who we are, who we can be at every stage of our lives, and especially in relationship to one another. We must encourage the creation of a culture of welcoming and acceptance and celebration and respect within our Jewish community, one that is mindfully inclusive of Jews of color, of Jews who identify as LGBTQIA+, of Jews by choice, of Jews living with different abilities, of intermarried couples. And this inclusion and welcome and spirit must extend to their families as well, our families. And Hachnasat Orchim means to me something very important and very personal. Because as I convey this message to you, as I see my face in the screen in front of me, I see a white, heterosexual, cisgender human being that must do his part to check whatever assumptions and biases that may preclude me, obviously or subtly, from being as welcoming and as inclusive as I think I am. And while I can only be truly responsible for myself, I do encourage you to embrace the same responsibility for yourselves. And finally, Hachnasat Orchim, audacious hospitality, must be at the root of our community, transforming it into a collective force for good that continuously builds on the relationality and the justice and the kindness and the matterness and the spirituality of welcome. And with that, I wish you Shabbat Shalom and many blessings to all. Stay well, struggle on, pay kindness forward, and let us all get proximate. Amen ve'amen.
Amen. Thank you, Rabbi, for those beautiful words. We invite you to rise either physically or spiritually for the Aleinu. Excuse me. Aleinu. Misha Berach first.
We still have time. Let's go to the Misha Berach. It's all right.
Oy.
No problem. No problem. Let us take a moment to make sure that those in our midst who are not feeling well, who need a refuah shlema, let's make sure we count them. Let's make sure we remind them that they matter. Noreen Alper, Judy Altman, Tanya Barliant, Teresa Busher, David Burchett, Fega Sor Bachaya, Linda Danielson, Gitta Domsky, Dr. Joseph Fair, Francine Fields, Lana Fields, Carter Glass, Don Grandolfo, Mimi Harris, Werner Hyman, Jane Herron, Priscilla Hill, Dr. Karen Hawk, Walter Ivy, Larry Jones, Harold Katz, Molly Klee, Anne-Marie Kulesa, Robert Langfelder, Holly Lipschultz, Roy Lloyd, Stephen Martinez, Gerald Marks, Richard MacArthur, Dr. James McCreary, Stephen Melnick, Deep Meserve, Deborah Miller, Jimmy Miller, Scott Montgomery, Moshe Ben Chava Venatan, Joe Mosciano, Jordan Nirenberg, Nicole Newcomb, Larry O'Neill, Don Olson, Mark Perlman, Richard Price, Jamie Raffleson, Alan Sager, Kristen Rouse Skinner, Betty Rudolph, Leah Batsara, Maria Sklianskaya, Linda Stahl, Tali Stein, Kirk Stokes, Michael Van Buren, Virginia Wharton, Nachum Feivel Ben Gedaliah Umasha. Who may we also include? Who may we also count among those in need of healing?
Thank you, Rabbi. Additional names from our congregation include Dr. Roger Usen, Allison Good, Leo Jacoel, Bonnie Fields Leibovich, Debbie Watts, Carmen Villa, Tina Ortega, Kevin Kaiser, Carmel Glarner, Bella Eisenstadt, Stacy Robinson, Mindy Jordan, Rabbi Douglas Goldhammer, Michael Ferrara, Masha Verch, Bonnie Pearlstein, Tracy Asher, Terry and Stuart Epstein, Gregory Sklavos, Jerry Levy, June and Cy Sherman, Phil Goldstucker, Becky Hanscom, Rebecca Lockett, and Roby Wayne.
Refuah Shlema to one and to all.
And now we're ready for the Aleinu.
Nope,
we're
not
not.
Torah.
I keep trying to end the service early. Yet I'm enjoying every minute of it. Ay, ay, ay. I can't even claim that it's early in the morning.
Cantor, I have good
All
news
right.
for you. My rendering of Haftorah will be shorter than my sermon. So
Hey,
we'll get
I
to
love your
Aleinu
sermon.
perhaps sooner than you realize.
Ay, ay, ay. All right. While you do after, I'm going to see if I can clear my brain.
No, this will make good for like our blooper film. All is good. All is good. Chevre, we read from the book of Hosea. Hosea was a very important prophet who lived in the first half of the 8th century. He comes from the north of Israel. And he lived during a time that things were insecure and unsteady. But he had a powerful vision that comes forth in our Haftorah that focuses on Israel's glorious future. And Hosea prophesies that the people, both in the northern kingdom of Israel and the southern kingdom of Judea, will be numerous as the sands in the sea. And also they will live peacefully and obediently under the guidance of God. One of the interesting things about the sands of the sea reminds us of the sands of the Midbar. the sands of the desert. And the word Midbar is included in this prophecy a number of times. And so there's this distinct connection between the book of Hosea and Parshat B'Midbar. So let us bless. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nbi'im tovim v'ratza v'divrehem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai abocher batorah uv'Moshe avdo uv'Yisrael amo uv'nbi'ei ha'emet v'hatzedek. V'haya mispar b'nei Yisrael k'chol hayam asher lo yimad v'lo yisafer v'haya bimkom asher ye'amer lehem lo ami atem ye'amar lehem b'nei el chai v'nikbetzu b'nei Yehuda u'b'nei Yisrael yachdav v'shamu lahem rosh echad ve'alu min haaretz ki gadol yom Yisrael Yisrael imru l'achichem ami v'l'achotechem ruchama. The number of people of Israel shall be like that of the sands of the sea, which cannot be measured or counted. And instead of being told, "You are not my people," they shall be called children of the living God. The people of Judah and the people of Israel shall assemble together and appoint one head over them, and they shall rise from the ground. For marvelous shall be the days of Jezreel. Oh, call your brothers and sisters my people, and your sisters lovingly accepted. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam tzor kol alamim tzadik b'chol hadorot ha'el ha'ne'eman ha'omer ve'oseh hamdaber u'mkayem shekol devarav emet v'tzedek al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al hanbi'im ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu likdusha v'limnucha lechavod u'tifaret. Al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach umbarchim otach yitbarach shimcha v'fi kol chai tamid leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
Amen.
Amen. Cantor.
Now, Rabbi, now is the
To
time.
do the Elenu?
I'm ready. Put me in, Coach.
I think it's time.
We rise in body and or spirit. Aleinu l'shabach l'Adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שמחוקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמן מר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו echad.
We extend this lesson of matterness, this importance of being counted, to the practice of Kaddish Yatom, to the practice of memory. Here before you is a list of people who have died recently or in years past at this season. Every one of these souls, forged in the Adam Kadmon. Every one of these souls, part of the collective soul of that original human being, full of powerful intrinsic worth, full of powerful inspiration that extends into our own lives, that not only reminds us to make sure that we remember, but to make these lives and their losses matter by embracing the lessons and the legacies and the values forged by every single one of these souls. And by the way, all those that we don't know to mention, but who are out there who deserve some level of memory. So we tap into that collective soul and remember even people we never met or we don't even know existed. So what a powerful opportunity to count the blessings and to ensure that they remain. So in that spirit, we remember Joseph Golner, who's entering the last part of Shloshim. And we observe the following Yahrzeichen of Archie H. Cohen, Nathan M. Cohen, Rose S. Cohen, Charles S. Cohn, Stell S. DeMars, Nettie Farber, Phineas Galiebter, Jean Glass, Leon Glassman, Louise Guth, Cantor's it Freda Fishman or Freda?
I believe so. It's Freda, I believe.
Freda Fishman, Paul P. Fleischer, Winifred G. Hopkins, Elaine Falk Katz, Max Kaufman, Irving Kirsten, Roberta Klein, I. Harry Landau, Fanny Lerner, Jim Lavoie, Celia Levy, Barbara Jean Lewis, David S. Marks, Elsa Marks, Michael Melzer, Judith Miller, Charles I. Mills, Angie Morgan, Leslie Roberts, Ronnie Russell, Hedwig Sanger, Golly Shear, Judy Skier, Joseph Smolin, Ethel Steiner, Vera Alma Thoman, Bogdan Urbansky, Helen Vogel, Judy Volk, Erwin Wise. Any additions or corrections, repronunciations?
Additional names from our congregation include Charlotte Dubin, Maddie T. Green, and of course, remembering as it's Memorial Day, those who fought in the armed services and lost their lives.
Yes, thank you, Leah. I appreciate that. I prepared a whole reflection on the power of this weekend. You know, you can read it in the bulletin that's coming up. I meant to just recap that here, but it's in the bulletin. You know, we possess important enduring values that enable us, at least ideally as Americans, to count and to matter. Now, of course, given the nature of today's sermon, we have a long way to go in terms of how well our democracy works for all people. But suffice it to say, perhaps, that the effort of our soldiers to protect our freedom and our democracy, to put us in position to struggle through these issues and to try and come to levels of resolution and redemption and reconciliation, this incredible sacrifice that they make to put us in position. So I would hope that we would not allow their deaths to be in vain by making sure that we do whatever we can to make each other matter, not only in remembering our soldiers, but in living our lives in a way that's worthy of their sacrifice. So thank you for that reminder, and thank you for your own contribution to remembering our soldiers, Leah. All right, so let us go to the Kaddish. Cantor, will you read the Kaddish today?
I'd be honored. Yitkadal, v'yitkadash, shemei Rabbah. V'alma divrach yute, v'yamlich malchute. V'chayachon, u'v'yomachon, ובחיי בכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה, gonna change slides, I think. There we go. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר וירומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרמיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו amen.
So I want to, we're going to change the final hymn today. I don't want to do Hallelujah. I want to do Lo Yisagoy with words. Because Lo Yisagoy is about confronting a reality. It's not quite ready for us to lay down our arms, right? To beat our swords into plowshares and our spears into pruning hooks. We're not quite ready to witness the lamb and the lion laying down, erstwhile enemies who become friends. We're not ready, but we need to get ready. Because if we don't, then the amount of people we remember on Memorial Day grows. And the pain that we suffer directly in losing our loved ones to warfare, or indirectly as mourning with those fellow citizens who are losing their children to warfare. At some point, we have to find a way to resolve our struggles differently. At some point, we have to really live up to the promise here in the prophecies that we will stop studying war, we will stop practicing war, we will dismantle the implements of war into implements that affirm life, right? Like a pruning hook or a plowshare.
Hey, oh, 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 hey, hey, oh, oh, hey. Lo is a goy, cheret, lo you may do milchama. Lo is a goy, cheret, lo you may do milchama. Hey, oh, 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 hey, hey, oh, 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 hey. Don't walk in front of me, I may not follow. Don't walk behind me, I may not lead. Just walk beside me and me, my friend. We'll walk together in the land of Hashem. Hey, oh, 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 hey, hey, oh, oh, hey, ufros aleinu, sukkot, sukkot, shelomecha, ufros aleinu, sukkot, sukkot, shelomecha, 8-0. Hey, oh, hey, hey, oh, Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May Adonai bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'hu
May God smile upon you and be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha. Shalom.
May God lift up God's face to you, that God might shine in you and shine through you and give you God's greatest gift, the gift of peace and wholeness.
Amen.
Amen.
Before we close, Lee, I wanted to ask you, so I don't forget, in case there were any comments in the box today, anything we want to share, or we were just kind of contemplative and.
It was a I think when you said sit back and take this in, people were pretty clear on that. John gave us some applause emoji. Sandy Chait said, treat each other as you want to be, respect and accept our differences. And Alex, who joins us weekly from Miami, said that we are one. And thank you for the uplifting words.
Well, you're so welcome. We you know, in the spirit of inclusion, want to try to include the wisdom that comes from, you know, the reality we construct together. So, you know, when there are questions laid out, whether you're sitting back or you want to think about answers, we're happy to hear them, happy to capture them. Some of them we will read out loud. The rest we will take into heart, maybe find a way to link them to our video in writing somehow in the YouTube page. But anyway, and it was fine if you sat back and listened today. The truth of the matter is our work is great ahead, and we have to put that effort forward. So whatever we did today is only one step of many ahead. So thank you. I'd only add regarding Shavuot that we're doing a Yisker at 10:30 on Friday, so we can make sure all those that you are remembering on this Shavuot Yisker are counted and matter. And then we'll do a Shabbat-oriented Shavuot or a Shavuot-oriented Shabbat Friday night. And then the Tikkun will take place. The citywide Tikkun will take place online at 9:30 p.m. on Saturday. So all this stuff is in writing. Take a look at our upcoming bulletin. And God bless everybody. You all matter.
Right. Shabbat shalom.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Shabbat shalom. Be well. A good Memorial Day.